My name is Kristen, and we live in Georgia. We've been here about 2.5 years, and I'm now serving as a Foundations and Essentials Director and a support manager in our area, where we incorporate some of the students and allow them to actually participate heavily in the info meetings. And those are the best ones. My best marketing tool is my little 4-year-old because he stands up and he's so confident because of the presentation practice at CC. And he'll get up there and say, "Hello, my name is Andrew, and I'm 4 years old, and I want to tell you some parts of the axial skeleton." And he'll just spout off his little memory work. Well, I think we've had like 3 families register for next year just because they say, "I'm so impressed with that 4-year-old kid." And a lady at our info meeting a couple of weeks ago heard my son do his memory work piece on George Washington. Well, she has an 8-year-old child in public school who is a smart child, but she is struggling so much with the curriculum right now. Some of the Common Core things that have been incorporated into the math. She's had a little bit of bullying struggles. So this mom goes to the guidance counselor of this elementary school to talk about her concerns, and the guidance counselor is actually who pointed her towards CC and said that that might be a good fit for you all because she was interested in learning more about homeschooling. So she comes to this info meeting, and here's the George Washington memory work, and she said, "My 8-year-old just did a unit on the presidents because this coming Monday is President's Day, and I feel like your 4-year-old knows way more than my 8-year-old about George Washington, and it breaks my heart because she has gone through this big unit on George Washington, and they've given her all kinds of worksheets to bring home, and they've done activities, and I feel like she doesn't know as much as your child knows." And I said, "Well, to be honest, that is all that my 4-year-old knows about George Washington. That one little sentence." But it's kind of backwards, where I do feel like lots of information was poured into me as a student growing up. It didn't stick. I read many textbooks. I went home many nights with an assignment to read chapter such and such because we're going to quiz for it tomorrow. So I'd read, I'd study, I'd cram, I'd test, I'd dump it all and move on to the next challenge. My son is 4, and he has this sentence stuck in his head that is not going anywhere. He's got a rock-solid foundation, and that's what I explained to this mama. Your child is getting a lot of information about George Washington, but it's a sandy foundation, so it's all kind of just going down into the sand and washing out. Where, CC gives our children rock, and what can we do with rock? We can just build on it and build on it and build on it. So the more my son hears about George Washington, he has something to link it to, and he goes, "Oh, okay, that makes sense because he was the first president." And it just builds and builds from there. And how come I never figured this out before 2 years ago? It makes so much sense, this way that our children learn. And my husband kind of was educated classically without realizing it or ever hearing the term. I marveled when we got married because of his Bible grammar. He would just be spouting off the kings or spouting off the plagues, the judges of the Bible, just really fast. And I'd say, "How do you do that, and why do you need to know that? Who does that?" And his dad thought of it as pastor growing up. They thought of silly sentences to help them remember these long strands of Bible grammar. And do you think that benefits him any as a pastor? Definitely. We have been frustrated through the years of ministry to work, with youth who we don't have a lot to build on because the Bible grammar is not in place. They're struggling through the things that all youth struggle through, working out their own worldview and that kind of stuff, and they don't really have a solid foundation to build upon. So the classical model just makes so much sense to me now that I see the proof is in the pudding. We see where we're going with this. We see why and how this is definitely going to work.